In those little things we often miss, there's something in the air that speaks volumes. It's often about the small clues a woman leaves behind, whether she means to or not. Have you ever wondered how to tell if a woman hasn't been intimate for a while? Learning to read her behavior and gestures can reveal what she's saying beyond words. This isn't about guessing games or superficial reads. It's about understanding what's going on in her mind. Today, I'm going to give you 7 signs that may indicate a woman hasn't been with a man for a long time. If you can spot them, you'll understand what she's feeling and how to approach her in a respectful and thoughtful way. It's about the energy she gives off when she wants something but hasn't gotten it yet. Hi, my name is Celia. If this is your first time on my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Not only will what you read here surprise you, but it will also give you the tools to improve your personal and mental life in a real way. Let's dive in. First, let's talk about something everyone knows. The body doesn't lie. There's something fascinating about body language, especially when a woman is conveying more than she realizes. When a woman hasn't had intimate contact for a while, her body unconsciously starts to reveal that pent-up sexual energy. It's not always something she does on purpose, but the signs are there waiting to be noticed. And when you know how to observe and pay attention, you can detect that unmasked sexual energy in small gestures. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, a friend of mine mentioned a coworker who had started behaving differently around him. It wasn't anything overt, but there were certain details in how she moved when she was near him. He described how, during what seemed like a casual conversation, she would lean slightly closer to him, hold eye contact longer than usual, and play with her hair in a way he hadn't noticed before. It wasn't blatant flirting, but something subtler yet constant. That energy, which had been contained, was starting to surface. What happens is that when a woman hasn't had intimate contact for a while, her body starts looking for ways to release that tension. She may not even be consciously aware of it, but her body reflects it. Psychological studies have shown that suppressed sexual energy can manifest in repetitive actions like touching her hair, biting her lips, or maintaining long, subtle physical contact with the person in front of her. These actions are simple to miss if you're not paying attention, but you'll know what's going on if you do. The body doesn't lie, but words can. Words can hide or change the truth, but body language is a direct way to read someone's emotions. A woman who hasn't been intimate with you in a while may lean toward you or touch you repeatedly, indicating that her desire is seeking an outlet. Therefore, it's crucial to avoid making hasty assumptions or misinterpreting each gesture. You should be aware of what you see and smart about how you interpret it. Often, these small movements are her way of expressing her potential interest in something more, but she wants to see if you pick up on the signs. So, when engaging with a woman, it's essential to pay attention to her body language. If she stares at you longer than usual, touches her hair or lips unconsciously, or wants to be close to you even when she doesn't have to, she may be trying to release sexual energy. Remember, everything matters unless she says otherwise. Women who haven't been sexual for a while will tell you everything you need to know by reading their bodies. If you pay attention to these body language cues, you can start reacting more naturally and intuitively, because she's subtly revealing to you that there's more to her words and her smile than you've yet to discover. The second element is humor, which can be both enjoyable and thought-provoking. Something interesting about how humor can lead to intimacy is that after a woman hasn't been intimate for a while, she might start playing with ideas, comments, and jokes that she might have previously ignored. This often sly or double-edged humor is her way of gauging your reaction, and she doesn't do it by accident. Picture this. You're with a group of friends on a normal afternoon and she says something that seems harmless. In a different situation, this could have been taken as a joke, but there's something different about it this time. Maybe the comment has a more personal undertone, like, "It's been so long since anything exciting has happened in my life," accompanied by a light laugh and a lingering look. That hint-laced humor is not a coincidence. A few months ago, one of my friends told me about his neighbor. He used to talk to her casually, but all of a sudden she started making slightly bolder jokes. He initially thought it was just conversation, but he soon realized there was more. The tension between them had been building for a while, and these jokes seemed harmless at first, but there was an underlying message. The psychology of humor is fascinating, especially in human relationships. Humor is a powerful way to connect with people, and when a woman uses double entendre, she's doing it to see how you react. Of course, she won't be overt, as she understands the delicate balance between suggestion and discomfort, but her subtle provocation serves as a tactic to gauge your willingness to engage. It's not just about what she says but how she says it. If she starts talking about private things or making bold comments in a casual chat, it's likely she's trying to tell you something. What's interesting is that she often disguises it as humor to protect herself. If she doesn't get the reaction she's hoping for, she can easily laugh it off and move on as if nothing happened. But if you catch the tone and the conversation becomes charged with that playful banter, you'll know there's something deeper at play. I remember a friend of mine, Mara, who always said humor was her secret weapon. She once admitted that she makes jokes about intimate topics to determine whether someone is willing to engage in a playful exchange. This is common among women who are seeking a connection that transcends the mundane. So, dear, when she starts joking about topics that never came up before, pay attention. Don't just focus on the laughter or the surface of the comment. Playful, provocative humor is an invitation to step into her emotional world and in many cases, a clear sign that it's been a while since she's had intimate contact and that her mind and body are seeking a connection. Third, there's the need for physical affection. Physical contact is one of the clearest ways for a woman to express what she often can't say with words. After a period of time without intimacy, her need for physical affection can subtly but significantly increase. I'm not referring to overt physical affection like hugs or caresses, but rather subtle gestures of closeness that convey messages she may not feel comfortable expressing directly. I remember Laura, an old friend's co-worker. He told me that his interactions with her started to feel different. What used to be a casual greeting now came with a hug that lasted a bit longer than usual or a light touch on the arm during conversation. At first, he didn't think much of it, but over time, these gestures became more common. They weren't intrusive, but they conveyed a need for closeness, a desire for touch, or a silent plea for attention. If you don't know how to read these cues, they might seem insignificant, but when a woman hasn't been close to someone for a while, her body starts seeking affection in everyday interactions. It's like she's trying to remember what it's like to be close to someone. She's not asking for sex, but the need for physical contact starts to show up in small ways, like when she touches you, hugs you, or stays close to you when she's with you. Studies have shown that people feel a stronger need for tactile affection when they lack physical contact, and this is a normal body reaction to a lack of intimacy. It's interesting because these actions aren't always planned. A woman may not even be aware that she's wanting to be close to a guy. Her body just does what it does instinctively, looking for warmth and closeness. This is where you need to pay attention. Whether it's a simple touch on the shoulder while you're talking, the way her hug lasts just a second longer than usual, or the way her legs brush against yours in a casual but persistent way while you're sitting close, these are signs that there's more going on than just friendship or casual interaction. But remember, respect is key. Now is not the time to mistake every touch for a direct invitation. Instead, it's time to carefully read the situation and react with care. If a woman hasn't had close contact with you in a while, she may want affection, but she also needs to feel safe and understood. So, the next time you feel that small brush of her hand on your arm or that hug that lasts a little longer, take a moment to ask yourself if she's looking for something more. Beneath those unassuming actions, there might be an immense realm awaiting exploration. When a woman hasn't been intimate for a while, the way she talks can change in small but meaningful ways. Suddenly, what used to be everyday conversations become more personal and deep, touching on topics she may have avoided before. At this point, you need to improve your listening skills, as a woman can reveal her unfulfilled needs when she feels secure in your presence and yearns for more. I remember talking to my friend Isabel, who mentioned that after months of not being with someone, her conversations with certain close friends started to take a different direction. I don't do it intentionally, she said, but I find myself talking about my past relationships or how I miss feeling connected to someone. That vulnerability creeping into the conversation is a clear sign that there's something within her waiting to surface. When a woman starts talking about her love life, or rather, the lack of it, it's not because it's just a casual topic. She might tell you how much she's changed since her last relationship or even drop lines like, "I can't even remember what it feels like to be with someone." She might say it with a smile, but behind those words there's a deeper message. She's opening a window into her inner world, showing you that there's a void that's been there for a while, and maybe now it's starting to weigh on her more. A study I once read on emotional communication pointed out that when people feel lonely or in need of intimate connection, they tend to share more about themselves as a way of seeking that missing emotional bond. When a woman who hasn't been intimate for some time starts diving into these topics, it's no coincidence. She's looking for a safe space where she can express herself. And if she trusts you enough to talk about it, it's a clear sign that something more might be possible. It's fascinating how these conversations often start off innocently enough. You might be talking about relationships in general or what it means to really connect with someone. But if she starts talking about more personal things like how lonely she is or what she misses about being in a relationship, you should pay attention. This isn't just her venting, she's letting you see how she's really feeling. This is where you need to be careful. Give her time to talk about how she feels and listen carefully without cutting her off. That's what she wants, someone who really listens. Don't discount the personal conversation. She needs to know that someone hears her and understands her feelings. She's not saying it directly, but if you read between the lines and respond with empathy, her openness invites a better connection in every way. If you're enjoying the video so far and feel like you're learning something new, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up to support this content. I also recommend watching until the end, because those truly committed to understanding these signs and strengthening their relationships will find the most revealing insights I have. One final piece of advice could surprise you and significantly impact your life. Also, tell me where you're watching from. I'd love to know. Let's move on to number 5, the jealousy in silence. Women sometimes show their jealousy in such a subtle way that it's almost impossible to notice. But when a woman hasn't been intimate for a long time, these small, quiet jealousies can start to show in unexpected ways. They won't be dramatic or scandalous, but you'll notice small reactions that give you clues about what's going on inside her. This kind of jealousy stems from a hidden, deep wish. When you're talking to a woman, pay close attention to her reactions, especially when you mention another woman, whether to friends or coworkers. If she falls silent for a moment longer than usual, changes the subject, or cracks a joke with a nonchalant air, you might be seeing a sign. It's not necessarily possessive jealousy, but more of an internal reaction that says, I wish I were the one getting that attention. This reminds me of Carolina, a college friend who always seemed calm and laid back when we talked, but everything changed when I started seeing someone new. Carolina never said anything out loud, but I began to notice subtle shifts. Whenever I talked about my new girlfriend, she'd either answer more quickly or make comments like, well, some people get lucky in love. It wasn't a direct confrontation, but a quiet, persistent response that I struggled to comprehend at the time. These silent jealousies are often signs of hidden interest and insecurity, especially in women who haven't experienced physical or emotional intimacy in a while. This lack of closeness can make them subconsciously protective of your relationship, even if they don't express it. What's intriguing is that this jealousy doesn't always show up as something negative. It can actually be a way for her to reclaim her place in your life. For instance, she might make a sarcastic comment or ask you a playful question. While these moments might seem lighthearted, beneath the laughter there could be a subtle hint of worry. This isn't because of a real conflict, but rather a brewing desire to be the one getting that attention. Psychology researchers have long studied jealousy, and what they've found is that when it manifests in a healthy manner, it can signal interest and desire. It's like an internal alarm that reminds us that the person we're interested in is important to us and that we want to keep that connection strong. So, the next time you're talking to a woman you like, pay attention to those little signs. It could be a pause in the conversation, a slight tension in her expression, or a comment that seems like a joke but carries more weight. Often, her words convey her longing for intimacy and a hope that you'll notice. The key here is subtlety. Don't make a big move, don't push her. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is just be there for her and show her that the attention she wants is already hers without competition. What she really wants isn't a fight, but a deeper connection with you. Invitations to spend time alone together are also a clear indicator. Sometimes, a woman's actions, not her words, are the clearest signs that she wants to get closer to you. I know this from experience. Shared moments of intimacy allow us to lower our guards and see if there's really a spark beyond friendship. After being single for a while, I remember looking for times to be alone with people who interested me. I didn't do this directly. Instead of hanging out with a big group, I'd suggest something quieter, like a dinner or a movie at home. Why is that? It's because sometimes what a woman wants, especially if she hasn't been intimate in a while, is to create moments where closeness can happen naturally without feeling forced. There's a reason we prefer these more private settings. When a woman invites you to do something alone with her, she's not just wanting to talk or pass the time. She's making space for emotional and possibly physical intimacy to grow without interruptions or distractions. At first, it might seem like an innocent invitation, but underneath, it could hold deeper meaning. When I've been in similar situations, I felt a mix of excitement and curiosity. I wanted to see how the other person would act in a more intimate setting without distractions. I was also exploring the possibility of a mutual interest in forming a connection outside of the usual activities. The need to be close to someone for a deeper conversation, or simply to feel their presence, becomes clearer after a period of separation. Often, when we're alone with someone, we find ourselves drawn to impromptu moments. Perhaps a conversation that becomes more intimate than expected, or shared laughter that leads to a deeper connection. It's not just about being physically close, but about creating a comfortable atmosphere where words flow freely and gazes linger a little longer than usual. So, when a woman invites you to spend time alone with her, pay attention. It's not just about hanging out, it's about whether there's an openness to something more intimate. Most importantly, observe how the dynamic changes when you're alone. Sometimes, simply sharing a quiet space can reveal more than you imagine. It's in these moments that real connection happens. It's not about making grand gestures or seeking immediate responses. Sometimes just being present and enjoying each other's company speaks volumes. Now, when flirting becomes constant, the dynamic shifts. The tone changes, and suddenly, every interaction between you seems charged with energy. The subtle game of attraction intensifies. This is especially common for women who haven't been intimate in a while. What once might have been a quick smile or a glance now becomes a constant exchange of playful remarks, teasing, and subtle provocation. The flirting escalates and the energy becomes undeniable. From personal experience, I can say that when a woman feels desire for you, the flirting can become a way to test your reaction. It's not necessarily planned, but it happens naturally. The jokes take on a different tone, and the words have more than one meaning. The eye contact lingers just enough for both of you to realize that the conversation is becoming more than just casual. It's intriguing how this type of flirting can persist, neither forced nor aggressive. It becomes a dance, a push and pull without any overt declarations. If you pay attention, you'll start noticing the changes in her behavior. Her comments might sound more playful, and her tone of voice may shift when things get personal. She might tease you with a comment that crosses a line, or laugh a little harder at something bold you say. After a period without intimacy, I found myself flirting more often with someone I liked. It wasn't intentional, but I noticed that my comments became more direct, and the game of seduction felt constant. Flirting in this case doesn't stop. It's a slow, building tension that lasts weeks, even months, without either person fully crossing any boundaries. The psychology behind this constant flirting is rooted in interest and the desire to see if you feel the same. A woman finds the game of seduction more appealing when she hasn't experienced physical connection for a while. She's testing the waters, seeing if you're also interested, but without making a direct move. This ongoing flirtation isn't just for fun. It's her way of telling you that she's interested in something more, but wants you to pick up on it. So how can you tell if the flirting has deeper meaning? Pay attention to whether it happens only with you. Is there a pattern in how she acts when you're together? If the tone is always light and playful, and every conversation seems to have a bit more emotional weight, then it's likely she's engaging in this constant game of flirting. The key here is patience. It's not about rushing things. It's about enjoying the dynamic that's unfolding. When you find yourself in the middle of that endless game of jokes, double meanings, and knowing smiles, recognize that there's something more at play. She's waiting to see if you'll pick up on the message, if you'll follow her lead. In the end, it all comes down to the ability to see what isn't always said in words. The signs a woman gives when she's been without intimacy for a while aren't a mystery, they're glimpses of emotions, desires, and needs seeking to be understood. What we've explored today is much more than a guide to understanding her subtle language. It's an invitation to connect on a deeper level with empathy and respect. Behind every gesture, every glance, there's a story waiting to be discovered, a desire to be seen, heard, and perhaps loved. In life, it's those small moments of attention and true understanding that transform our relationships. And when you learn to read these signs with care, you become someone who doesn't just fulfill superficial needs, but someone who understands and values what the other person is truly communicating. If this is your first time on my channel, I invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming topics. And if you've made it this far, congratulations. It means you value your personal growth, and that deserves recognition. Let me know where you're listening from and comment with "I love wisdom" to join others on this journey of self-discovery. Don't forget to share this video with someone who might need it. A simple piece of advice can make a big difference in someone's life. See you in the next video, and remember, understanding not just the words spoken but the silence in between is what truly matters.